every time you open up the MPC, you go and grab a drum kit. You got all these sounds on your MPC, stock sounds, all kinds of sounds you never even found because you're just always grabbing drum kits. Check this out. Go to the search feature, type in kick. And you can see now, if you click the little wave file, you can bring up all these different kicks, all these different sounds. So now you can make your own drum program or your own kit out of different sounds. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure, see how I had that pad green? See how I just selected the pad? You click it, now it's on the pad. So now you could go through, we're gonna make a kit. I'm gonna show you a couple tips. By the end of this video, you'll know how to make a whole beat from using one drum track. Show you some tips. What's going on, guys? It's your brother O.T.G. The O.T.G's for Overtime Grind. Hardly seen, but I'm always around. And today I got the MPC 1. We are in MPC 3.4 Beta 2. And I did a video showing some tips using 2.15.1. And all you guys who upgraded, a lot of y'all hit me in my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at 365 O.T.G, even on Threads, and said, hey, bro, how can I do this in 3.0? Well, here you go, man. Same thing. You go over to your menu, and you want to make sure that you have nothing typed in there, and now you could just type in what you're looking for. You make sure your pad is highlighted green. Make sure that pad's highlighted green, and you'll load the sample directly to a pad. Now, when you do this, you got to go through and set up your mutes and all that stuff. I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff. Relax. I'm going to show you how to do it. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to make a whole beat, have your samples and everything mapped out on one drum kit if you don't know how to do it. Tip number 1, go search your samples. You know, and if you don't know the name or different things, that could cause a problem. So, like, you gotta remember basic things like perc, P-E-R-C, H-H for hi-hat, clap, snare, kick. You gotta remember all of the basic terms, you know what I mean? Ride, crash, FX, you know, certain terms and certain labels, and then you could go in and really just search everything that way. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you check out my store. I got sounds and all kinds of things over there, you know, get you started. Bunch of videos, old videos from, you know, start to finish videos on how to make a beat from beginning to end. My tutorials and master classes are different. I just show you me making a beat over and over and over again. And after a while, as you watch the process, you'll implement some of those things. You know, I just turn the MPC on and go. We do it all in real time. You know what I mean? So right now, I'm going to grab. So one tip is on this MPC 1, I don't have my SD card. So on here, I don't have a bunch of my MP3 library and all my loops and certain things. But we're going to still load some samples. And notice that I hit load the pool. Make sure that you pay attention. None of my pads are green. So now I'm loading the sample to the pool. It's not loading it to a pad. So you can see I got drum sounds on all those pads. Now I'm going to hit sample edit. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to chop this. I'm going to chop it manually. You know what I mean? Probably 4 chops, top 4 pads. Next sample, 4 chops, second 4 pads. Let's do it. All right, so we got that. Boom. Now we're going to use our Q link and move it in. Make our adjustments. And by default, it's already set. So now I'm going to listen to a click. We're going to go over. We're going to assign sample to a pad, assign chop to a pad. Now, whatever the last chop is, see, I have the fourth one. I had to switch it to the first one. Whatever chop is highlighted is what's going to send to the pad. You got to make sure you remember that. And this part, you make sure you audition. I could hear the zero crossing where I need to go and do it, but, you know, I'm just going to manually do it. We could go and do it from our program edit, but I'm just going to zoom in, listen to it. It's a certain place I want it to fall, and a certain way I want this one to start. So we're going to go get that right, okay? And now I'm going to hit Shift and Convert. I'm going to select the pad, and boom, it's going to go to that pad. Now I'm going to select the next chop. We're going to listen to it, audition it, sounds good, send it to the pad. Boom. Listen to the next chop. All right. Let's make a little small adjustment. Boom. Let's send that to the pad. Now we're going to do the fourth chop. Boom. Convert, send to the pad. Now we good. So now I've selected at the top. We could just go to our next chop. Now let's listen to it all the way through. Go ahead and chop it. Now that we got the chops, you know, I don't know how I feel about that at the end. Let's see how it plays. Anyway it goes, it abruptly cuts off. But having that little space at the end, you know, nothing like it. Boom. We're going to assign it to the pad underneath. Select our next chop. Send it to the pad. Or assign it to the pad for all the people who need it and the correct terminology. Bam. Now we cooking. Now we could just go straight to our page, and now we lit up. We all blue. All our samples playing all over each other. How do we fix that? Let's go to our program edit or track edit. And now let's fix our, let's put it on a mute group. So a lot of times you will put it on mute group 1. But I don't want to do that. So let's move it to mute group 2 because I might want to put something else on one. Like my hi-hats. So let's choose those, put them on a mute group. Boom. Now we good business. Now all our pads cut each other off. We can have multiple pads playing at the same time. And look at that. That's crack. Well, sorry, that was a joke in poor taste based off rap music. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. But look at that. Now we got it all set up. We got our cool, nifty screen. But because we're MPC professionals, we already know we could do it with just hearing it. Thanks, Akai, for the cool screen. But we already knew. Now what we're going to do is go get our volumes right. Tip number 2, track edit, program edit, track edit, program edit, whatever you want to call it. Track edit, program edit. One of the most important screens on the MPC. This is sample screen 2. So when you select track edit, you go to where it says sample, you see the little boxes underneath. Now, boom, you could go over here and you could start really getting your pads together in a fashion that makes sense. Now we're going to go to drum effects, which is the last tab on the second box. And now on our sample, because we loaded our sample straight to our pads and they're with our drums, you know, you always have the option to deal with the samples and drum effects. If you didn't know that, that's tip number 3. Whatever you put in a drum track program or a drum program, you could use the drum effects on. So, like right now, I just put a low pass filter on that sample and we already good. You get what I'm saying? So now I have this one little sample that I could play over and over again and set it as a backing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on its own mute group so I could play samples on top of it. Because we put the low pass filter on it, we could now play something on top of it and it should match because they're the same key. See? Little tricks right there, little tips right there. You're an MPC professional. I know it's crazy to laugh at your own jokes, but that shit's funny. You would know that. Now, let's get these volumes right. You know, from this screen, you could deal with the pitch. You could deal with panning and all of that. So now let's go fix the pad color. So I'm not going to lie, bro. I'm a little bit lost because this is my first time ever doing the pad color. And, you know, right now in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, let's do it how they would do on the Force. On the Force, you go down to the track options and you would have pad color. It's got to be there, right? Right. Not right, because it's not there. I know that Akai isn't, so didn't just forget about us and then didn't add the ability to label our pads. I know they didn't do that. So it's got to be user error. Let's go back and look again. I don't need to go get a manual. I don't need to go look for a YouTube video. It's only so many places it could be, right? So it's not there. You know, it's got to be in the menu. Let's scroll over. Look at that. Pad color. Now we see at the top we got our drum program selected. Now what I'm looking for is to change it to single pad. Boom. And now, you know, let's change it to dim to bright velocity. And now we're following the code. Red for the kicks, yellow for the claps and the snares, orange for hi-hats, you know, orange for orangish yellow for the drum fill, maroon for samples, green for 808s, blue for percussion. In case you didn't know, might help you out. Now let's make a whole track on one track. So I just duplicated that out. So now I have 4 bars. You know, now don't make the mistake that I made. This is it being all on one track again. Akai, it'd be dope if we could separate our tracks, but we can't. So I get it. All right. Pad mute. Overdub. Hit undo, and now we just gotta overdub it and get it all on one track. You know what I mean? I got something special for you guys at the end of this too. A lot of people came in the comments and was like, hey bro, if you just do this, And I much rather do it the track mute way. But, you know, if you're a finger drummer or if you're somebody in that space, or you want to utilize this one sequence method or one track method, and then you want to build out a bunch of beats on a bunch of different tracks, you know what I mean? You could do it. So I'm going to show you how. So right now I'm just throwing some stuff in there. We're going to get something that we could live with, because I'm already at 15 minutes, man, but I had to do it. So remember, tip 1, use your search. Tip 2, chop your samples and send it to your pads. Tip number 3, utilize your program and track edit. Tip number 4, use your drum effects. Tip number 5, color your pads. Always think efficient. All right, so now we got something planned. You know what I mean? Let's change that kick. Use our nifty search feature. You know, now if you don't see anything when you search, always just back up to the root folder. Now we're in the root. I got a bunch of stuff loading. Going to switch to the WAV file. Boom. Let's just grab any kick. What up, Bolo? That's Bolo Buff Kit right there. I support. You know what I mean? Now, let's add that on there. Let's go ahead. See, made the mistake. Hit that record button again. Akai. Now, let's do this. Boom. I know a lot of you guys are worried about the workflow, man. If this is the way, it's just the way. You gotta muscle memory and learn. Or buy you a couple MPCs. You know what I mean? I'm going to learn both ways. I'm keeping 2.15 and I'm going to have 3.0, and I'll just know how to utilize both in the ways that make sense. Alright, I could live with that. So now we're going to check out our pad mutes. Pad mutes, which is shift track mute on the MPC-1. And so now we could put in our pad mutes, and let's just go ahead and duplicate our sequence out. I'm gonna just make it 32 bars. Now I'm there. Now, one of the weird things is I kept hitting stop and it wouldn't go all the way to 1. And so when I turned on the record automation, which is that little box at the top, make sure you want to turn it from write to read. It doesn't reset. Maybe it's a bug. So what you have to do is just have it selected and turn your jog wheel all the way to 0. See? So now I select all the pads, they're muted. Now we just hit play. And let's record some pad mutes. Let's do some arranging. One thing about O.T.G is I'm going to find a way to get it done the way I like to get it done. Been on the MPC a lot of years, bro. And once they give you the workflow and they put it in your hands, it's up to you to figure it out. So here's another method that you could get it done. One track. one track, one sequence, get it all done. You just gotta think about how you want to lay out your pads. So first, search your drums. Second, utilize your pad color. Third, utilize the different ways to chop your sample. Send it to a pad. Use all kinds of there's all kinds of methods of utilizing your chops or the sample edit. Set up your mute groups. Make sure you use your track edit, program edit. Make sure you use your drum effects. You know what I mean? And then make sure you utilize your pad mutes and your automation. Because now, when I hit play, look what we got. We got everything that we just did. And I told you, bro. I told you at the beginning, I was going to show you how to get it all done on one track. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, but they're not showing you this. You don't need the arranger window. And guess what? Everything you did is in the arrangement window if you want to go see it. But if you want that old 2.15.1 workflow and you could get it done with 16 sounds on 16 pads, there you have it. If you want to go through and get everything lined out with the pad mutes and then use the trap mutes for your other instruments, I just gave you a gem right there. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you want to see in the comments. Follow me on all social media at 365 O.T.G. It's your brother. We got another one. MPC 3, Beta 2. Tell Akai send me an MPC X, bro. Stop playing.